A few months after Tita Joy D was diagnosed with cancer in 2015, the seminarian attending the Intergen weekend retreat remarks during his sharing that he doesn't know who the bold lady in the corner is. He feels she is an important woman, but whatever is ailing her, he prays she will recover from it. I suppose the seminarian is now a priest because God heard his prayer. Tita Joy was diagnosed with lung cancer and was told she had a few months to live, but she stayed with us for 4 more years. Despite overcoming numerous other cancers and nearing death, despite becoming bedridden in her last months, she was still our servant leader to the end. She continued to guide us, lead us, correct us, and above all, love us. My name is Tita Terry, and I will be telling you the story of the Healing Missionaries of the Holy Spirit founder, Tita Joy D. A lot of you may not know her anymore. Some of you met her in her final months. But there was a time our Intergen family was led by this great woman who will eventually turn bald. It is said that the top of our heads is where the grace of God physically passes through. Perhaps it is symbolic that as she lost most of her long hair, she was prepared to meet her God. God gave her a responsibility to look for the wounded and the broken, to comfort them and heal them, as if she was receiving instructions from our Father. Let me introduce you to our Tita Joy. It was the year 1947 on August 9, a Saturday when Tita Joy was born. The Philippines was finally getting back on its feet, 2 years after it was ravaged by war. The Filipinos were getting their zest for life back. It was a year of hope. It was in the spirit of great expectations that she grew up. Perhaps I can say Tita Joy was relatable. She was a typical kid who hated going to Mass, would hide in the bathroom to avoid the morning masses at St. Scholastica's College in Pampanga. She was thought more of as a tomboy because she loved playing more with the boys. From a tomboy, she would grow into a great beauty. A long line of suitors wanted her hand. She looked so much like the 1950s Hollywood actress Natalie Wood. One of those suitors was Donald D. He was from the prominent family of the industrious D's. Although she wasn't in love with him when he was courting her mother persuaded her to choose him. Most marriages at the time were a little transactional. You should marry someone who would give you a comfortable life. Not that Tito Donald was in the same caliber of great looks as Tito Joy. Just look at their 3 beautiful children. But as Tito Joy married Tito Donald, he will be her greatest love and her greatest heartbreak. Tito Joy was far from saintly. She was so relatable, she led a very superficial life. When she married into the D family, she not only got comfort, but luxury and money and applause from hangers-on who wanted to get into her rich graces. Just look at this glam magazine cover-like photo of hers. Who would think that this woman will soon turn her life around and follow Jesus carrying her own cross? Who would think she will leave a legacy that is ageless, which is still going strong at 23 years, 4 years after she left this earth? Not her friends during her high society life as Miss Joy D, not her classmates from school who thought of her as naughty, not her fellow members in their marriage encounter community. Tita Joy was the first to admit she was far from saintly. Makasalanan, as she would put it, Not then in her glamorous life, and still barely there when she founded HMHS. But as one priest would put it, among all the capital sins, only those with pride will never be able to get into it. And that's what Tita Joy was. She was so humble to be the first to admit that she was a sinner, an imperfect creation of God. She had no masks to show off how saintly she was. She did the work that God had tasked her to do, and she did it in spite of her weaknesses. It was in this acknowledgement of her own flaws that she refused to judge others. Look around you today. All the people serving in this community are all works in progress. Nobody is perfect because only God is perfect. That hinders us from judging anyone. Broken, this is what we all are. We are all broken, but it is in that brokenness that light is able to get in. At the height of her fabulous life, ballroom dancing in the wee hours of the morning, running her esteemed gallery, and being a power couple in the MA community who counsel married couples, she was pruned by God. He had better plans. He took all this away from her. At the height of all this, her marriage collapsed. She was humiliated, persecuted, scorned by the very circle that adored her. It was indeed a superficial time, giving glory only to herself. As her life collapsed, her whose perfection was illusory, she fled to a beach house in Batangas. She stayed there for 6 months. What did she do? She read the Bible. She read it more deeply this time. She wanted to understand her pain. When she came back to Manila, she met a priest who did ancestral healing retreats. It was through him she understood intergenerational bondages. She looked at her family genogram and saw the men in her family all had mistresses or second wives, while the women were separated from their husbands because of infidelity. Although it was her mother who wanted her to marry Tito Donald, somewhere in her, just as in her generations of family, was drawn to broken marriages. It was through the ancestral healing retreat she understood that it is by healing the mistakes of generations past that we can truly break free from it. While she had always been a trailblazer, a patron, a leader, this time she became a servant leader. She did it with and for God. In those 6 months of reading the Bible, the Holy Spirit must have descended upon her. On December 8, 2000, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, she gave her first retreat as the Healing Missionaries of the Holy Spirit. With some friends from the previous communities, they were so overjoyed after giving a retreat to 5 people who were longing for healing. This time, she wasn't doing it for the week's applause. She did it because of the same compassion Jesus felt for us, for all our earthly pains. Through HMHS, she practiced psycho-spiritual healing, that for the grace of God to get through, you must be healed first of what ails you. She knew that an empty person in pain, person who is angry, will never ever listen. Tend to those wounds, care for those wounds. And when these people in pain are stronger, they will see what a beautiful life God has created for them. She always said that wasn't her. Her success in healing broken people was never her doing. It was the Holy Spirit. If you met her, you would remember her famous words, "Do I make sense?" She had this tendency to think she was rambling, talking nonsense. But in truth, it was in these ramblings that the gift of the Holy Spirit was in her, and that was wisdom. She was at her wisest when she didn't even know what she was saying. One time, she wasn't in a very good mood, very imperfect still. She sat down during group processing as a facilitator. She was a bit ill-tempered. Upon hearing the story of her participant who was raped by her cousin, her whole demeanor changed. It softened immediately. She hugged the girl. She was diagnosed with cancer in 2015. She died on April 4, 2019. Not once was she ever not in an intergen retreat. There was a call to give a retreat in Cagayan de Oro. She went with the whole HMH's team to go there for 2 weeks. And HMH's community was also blooming in Davao. She flew there against everyone's wishes for her safety. She said she wanted to die while serving the Lord. A few days before she passed away, she said, "Pagod na ako. Uuwi na ako." That was the Holy Spirit saying her place in heaven is ready. Someone asked her, "Tita Joy, what is intergen to you?" She said it was a miracle of her life. Today is Sunday. Today you have grown affections for us who sat and listened to your stories, who are nice and friendly, who cared for you. You felt the warmth of this place, the camaraderie, the joyful atmosphere. We too were broken people who ungraciously glorified ourselves. And Intergen was also the miracle of our lives. Today, we honor the woman who made this miracle possible. Happy birthday in heaven, Tita Joy. We miss you, we love you, and we also thank you.
Is the face that I see in the mirror the one I want others to see? Do I show in the way that I walk in my life the love that you've given to me? My heart's desires to be like you. In all that I do, all I am. Do they see Jesus in me? Do they recognize your face? Do I communicate your love and your grace? Do I reflect who you are in the way I choose to be? Do they see Jesus, Jesus in me? Well, it's amazing that you'd ever use me, but use me the way you will. Help me to hold out a heart of compassion and grace. the same way you've shown it to me. Do they see Jesus in me? Do they recognize your face? Do I communicate your love and your grace? Do I reflect who you are in the way I choose to be? Do they see Jesus in me? Well, I want to show all the world that you are the reason I live and breathe. So you'll be the one that they see when they see